will lead myself. Someone type it in the chat. I will lead myself. Hi, Cheryl. Because as an executive life coach, what I've come across is as I listen to people when they come to the coaching space for help to deal with the challenges in the workplace, a lot of them have toxic boss. A lot of them have managers who don't know how to manage. Why? Because the manager does not know how to manage himself or herself. Self-management is not there. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want to put the ball back in your hand. I want to put the option back in your hand so you have power when you walk into that space where you have a leader, a manager that's not leading. You have someone over you that's not really leading. But how many of you know we have to learn to manage ourselves first before we go and talk about raising our hands to manage people? And it's so important, DT, Celestia. It's so important that we know what self-management looks like, right? When we are practicing self-management, we're doing what we say we're going to do, even though nobody's watching. Yeah, even though nobody's watching. Because this is who you are. This is part of your DNA. This is how you show up. Talk to me. Throw it back in the chat, in the comment. Are you managing yourself, or do you struggle? Is that one of the areas where you struggle? Because if you're managing your mindset and your time and you're managing the reaction, you're not going to let the day run you. You're going to run the day. Right? We're not saying every now and again you have a day like no other and you got to pause to catch your breath because there's so much coming at you. But then you have to press reset, Gabriel. Thank you all again for connecting with me here. When you lead yourself well, you stop waiting for motivation and you start showing up with intention. This is why I'm showing you here on a daily basis to use intention to shape your day, to use intention to guard your day, to use intention for you to decide today, I am going to manage me. I'm going to lead me. I will lead myself today. You've got to decide that you're going to lead yourself. Because if you don't decide, somebody's going to decide for you. And how many of you know many times people decide for us, it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. Hi, Parker. It doesn't feel good. When we are doing self-management well, it's about honoring our word. And we want to do this before we go into the space about managing people. Thank you for the love. When you lead yourself well, everything else works out better. Right? Everything work out better. So let me give you some examples as to what it could look like, how it should show up in your life, or when you're observing people and you see, okay, those are good self-management skills because Coach Shelia taught me that today. Right? I want you to know that you need to pay attention in yourself first and then look at other people. The first thing is you're setting boundaries for yourself. You're setting boundaries with your time. You're setting boundaries with work. You're setting boundaries with your energy. And you're doing this without guilt. Because you're honoring who you are. You know you're at work. You're not going to go off and talk with Sue. You're not going to go off and be on your phone and not do the people's work. Right? You're going to manage yourself. And you're going to pace yourself. And you're going to do the right thing when nobody's watching. The other thing is that you're going to do is you're going to take responsibility instead of blaming circumstances. Oh, the printer wasn't working, so I couldn't get it done. Or Mary didn't do her part, so I couldn't do my part. Okay, did you call Mary? Did you put her in Teams and put her in the group chat in Slack or something? Or send her an email? What proactive measures are you taking versus waiting to react? Reaction is not a self-leadership behavior, right? So if you're struggling with that in yourself, or you observe that in your manager, take note. That is not good self-management, and you can change it in you. You can't change it in anybody else. And anybody that's going to do people management need to know how to manage themselves first, right? Talk to me. Are you struggling with any of those? Do you know anybody, right? If you don't want to tell it in yourself, you can tell a story about somebody else. But engage with me here. Instead of you prepared, let me pause right there. Preparing instead of procrastinating. You have a project to do and you're not waiting until the last minute to do it. When you manage yourself well, you are going to prepare as soon as you get the orders that a presentation is due, you're asked to speak somewhere, you're expected to do a couple of slides with a group of people, you're going to get on it right away. You set time to communicate with those people that you're going to partner with. You're going to do this and not wait for the excuse to say, well, I'm not motivated right now, I can't do it. No, you self-manage. And when you self-manage, you set yourself up to win, Oscar. When you manage yourself well, you plan your day with intention like we're doing here. You set your day. This is going to be my intention. I'm going to show up as a leader today. I'm going to lead me and I'm going to do it well. You're calling yourself, you're giving yourself permission to do the thing and do it right and do it with excellence so that you're memorable. How many of you know when you do something, you leave an impact in the heart and minds of people? Oh, I didn't know Sam could do this. I didn't know Oscar could do that so well. You become memorable in their mind because you're governing yourself. You're making yourself well known. You're making yourself memorable, whether you're in the room or not. Because how many of you know if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change? Today, make a commitment to you to lead yourself well. Because when you lead yourself well, you can lead others well. If you decide to go into people management, and if you're in people management and you've gotten some feedback that you're missing the mark, pay attention. Start focusing on you. Ask yourself in your reflection time, what do I need to do to improve? And if you struggle, that's where I come in as your coach. Connect with me so that I can help you to become the better manager, the better people leader that you know you already are. You may have some areas where you need a little sharpening. And the thing is, when you're in the frame, you cannot see the picture. So my job as your coach, as your collaborative partner, is to help you to see what others are saying, but help you to also correct it, change it, and come back even more powerful. Because when you lead yourself well, you will make an impact in your life at work, in your own personal life, and in your life in the community and in your home. People, when you have great leadership skills for yourself, you can lead anywhere. And you've got to know that, right? Asking for clarity or support instead of staying silent and being frustrated. A great leader is proactive. You ask for help. You lead into vulnerability. And you're not scared to say, listen, I don't know that, but I need to know, so I need your help. Not because you're the manager mean you can't ask someone on your team. They may be stronger in an area where you're not, right? Talk to me. Factory lady, talk to me. Are you running into problems leading yourself, or are you running into problems where your leader is really not leading? And you're learning here. Tell me, what are you learning? Hit the heart. Send me some hearts. Interact with me here. Invite other people to the group so we can grow this channel together. We have to choose progress over perfection. Choose progress over perfection, because when you choose progress over perfection, you're saying, even though things is actually, thank you for the love, even though things are not the way it should be, you know it could be better, you're going to continue to do it. You're not going to give up. Thank you for the love. Keep sharing the love. I appreciate you. Sending those hearts. You take feedback well. If you're a good leader for yourself, you take feedback well. Keep sending those hearts. I love it. I love it. Keep sending them. When you get feedback, how many of you know feedback is someone sharing their perspective? And in reality, we've got to make sure we weigh feedback. When you hear something, when someone gives you feedback, don't just receive it. I want you to start something new. Be intentional about repeating that feedback in your reflective time. When you set time to reflect, ask yourself, is there any truth in that feedback that they gave me? And sit with it. And if there's truth, take it all. If there's no truth, get rid of it. If there's part truth, keep the part that's true and throw away the rest. You have the power to decide how you receive people's feedback. Because how many of you, sometimes people give you feedback from their perspective and it's just off. It's not right. And then you get caught up in this feedback and you lose power. It robs you of your day. Thank you for the love. It robs you of your momentum because somebody shared something that just didn't land well in your spirit. It just didn't make sense and it's just not who you are. When you know your values, when you know who you are as a person and someone gives you feedback and it doesn't match, you know that right there factually, it's off. And you don't have to take it. It doesn't matter if it's a manager, your husband, your spouse, your children, or anybody. Feedback is something that you hear it, you sit with it, and you are open, and you ask that feedback questions, and you said, is there any truth in it? That's how you lead yourself well. You don't just receive it and say, oh my God, that's a gut punch. It may be a gut punch. It may not be true, or it may be true, or it may be partially true. You've got to investigate it, Oscar. When you lead yourself well, you look at feedback. You don't get defensive, but you investigate it. You ask the feedback, is there any truth in it? When was the last time you got feedback that, it just didn't land right and it wasn't you? And you let that rob you of your day. When you lead yourself well, you don't just receive feedback. Give me the thumbs up. Give me the love. Give me the hearts. Talk to me. I don't want to just talk. I want to hear you. Type in the chat. Give me a comment. Ask me a question. Let's engage here. I want us to grow together. This is our tribe at 7:45. Today is Monday. And I know sometimes some of you need to get your coffee. You're not quite awake yet. I get that. But I thank you for meeting me here. I love you connecting with me. The other thing to remember is with feedback, instead of going into defensive mode, look for ways to improve. If the feedback lands with you and it makes sense and say, you know what? Yep, I did that. I did a misstep, or I can do better here. That's an invitation to improve. And that's how you lead yourself. You take feedback to sharpen your skills, to sharpen yourself, to become better, to be more well-rounded, right? The other thing to remember is resting strategically so that you can avoid burnout. Know your limits. Know your limits. Stop saying yes to everything. Because how many of you know when you say yes to something over there, you're saying no to you? Set boundaries and keep them. Boundaries are for you, sir and ma'am. Remember, boundaries are for you. They're not for those people over there. So you got to set boundaries with your work. You got to set boundaries with your level of rest. If you're stressed, you realize you haven't been honoring your boundaries. You've been giving out more than you're putting in. You may need rest. And rest doesn't necessarily mean sleep. But we can talk more about that in another session. It's so important that we know ways to govern ourselves so that we can become the better version of ourselves. Stress management is important. If you have a spiritual practice, and many times I ask my clients, do you have a spiritual practice? And everyone, if not most, go to religion and get stuck. Let me share a few of them with you here. And if you're not practicing them, feel free to dive in and practice them, because that's going to help you to become a better leader. Number one, when you have a spiritual practice, it could be that you do gratitude. You pause to be grateful for the things you have, for the things that you're already doing well. Send me the love. Keep the love going. Keep the likes going. Share the hearts, right? Another practice, spiritual practice could be yoga, where you're getting in tune with your breath. You're being mindful. You're practicing meditation. You're pausing. You're taking time out from your day. You're putting something in your calendar and you're saying, you know what, I'm taking 15 minutes for myself. I'm going to walk away from the computer. I'm going to walk around the block. I'm going to sit quietly in stillness and peace to catch my breath, because there's so much coming at you. Having a spiritual practice is saying you love yourself, you care about yourself, doing self-care, going to the gym, doing some Pilates, setting yourself up to win. Set your mind right before you get into work. You lead yourself well so that you won't cut people off. You won't be rude to people because you didn't get what you need first. Give yourself what you need first so that you can give to the other people who you're colleagues with or you're managing. It's so important that you make sure that you watch yourself talk. You might be having a rough day, and you have the power to shift your day. How many of you know if you pause for a moment and lean into gratitude, you write down a few things or say them out loud, or you start speaking to yourself well, take a pause, run into the bathroom if you're at work, and talk to the man in the mirror, talk to the woman in the mirror, call forth that person and remind them who they are. On one of my past talks, I said, use your name, go down the list and use the letters in your name and assign powerful statements, powerful words to build yourself up. Go back and find that video and read it through to the process. Self-talk is so important. So remind yourself of who you are. You're strong, you're capable, you're wise, you have wisdom, you're smart, you're loving, you're amazing, you're unstoppable. What are those words that match the letters in your name? Even if you're not that yet, you have the power to elevate yourself. Send the love, y'all. I'm not seeing the heart. I need more hearts. Come on. Come on. Stay with me. If you're engaging with me here, if I'm making sense, send me some heart. Let me see you. The other thing is to make sure that you're making decisions that's aligned with who you are and align with your values. We could talk about values another day too. Because when your values, say your values, honesty and respect and loyalty, and people in your circle are not being respectful, they're not being loyal, they're not honoring your values, you're going to feel away. So you got to learn to lead yourself, learn to know yourself more. What is it about me that makes me uniquely who I am? What is it about me, Matt? What is it about me, Oscar? I'm going to have to lead myself first before I can lead anybody else. Let me see the thumbs up and the love. And I'll close with this. When you actively choose growth, even if you don't stay in comfort, you know that your growth is not in comfort. You grow most, you grow best when you're uncomfortable. Yeah. Decide your mind that you're going to lead yourself and you're going to get uncomfortable. You're going to raise your hand and take on that stretch assignment. You're going to raise your hand and ask that person out. You're going to raise your hand and speak up in the team meeting. You're going to raise your hand and say, you know what? I am going to move from an independent contributor to a manager or a leader. I'm going to say yes to me because I know I have the skills. I know I want to grow. So when you lead yourself well, you invest in yourself and you reach for the ROI. What are the returns on my investment? I've been investing in myself, connecting with Coach Shelia, reading books, listening to podcasts. I'm learning, I'm growing. Now let's see what that looks like. And I want you to know you have the power to lead yourself well. And the mantra today is, I will lead myself today. I will lead myself today. So share with me how you have led yourself today tomorrow. Meet me here tomorrow at 7:45 a.m.